Hello everyone, and welcome to the OpenStack Manila mid cycle. We have these mid cycles kind of like midway through the cycle in the release schedule, so that we can discuss things that we planned on the PTG, and also check on the status of the implementation of the features, and also use this as an opportunity to do collaborative review sessions where we will get big changes and walk people through all of the changes that we have been working on. And in the past, this helped us very much on speeding up the review process, and I'm sure this is going to be the case as well. So yeah, first, thank you everyone for joining. If somehow or at some point you need to leave, or and yeah, something happens, I'm doing the recording for all of the sessions. So and the recordings are posted in the OpenStack Manila YouTube channel. So if you go to um, YouTube and then search OpenStack Manila, you find the OpenStack Manila YouTube channel, which is this one. Has a couple of subscribers, and all of the sessions that we do upstream are recorded, or most of them actually. So yeah, uh, in case you miss something, please check the recordings. I'll attempt to post them as soon as I can. As soon as we finish the meetings, try to do the upload as well already to the YouTube channel, and yeah, make it visible to everyone. So without further ado, again, thank you for joining. And yeah, let's get started. So we have a couple of things in the schedule. Today we allocated some time for the HR encryption series, which is a big one. I've added a parking lot to the bottom here, because we said, or got to mention in the meeting, that we should focus on the big features, or the big patches, driver changes, and stuff like that. So in case you'd like to bring something up and during this meeting that is not in the schedule yet, uh, please let me know, or just add it to the parking lot yourself, and then if we have the time to go through it, we can. So yeah, I've talked enough. I'll hand it over to Kiran and Sai. Oh, I think Kiran just dropped. He might be having connectivity issues. I don't know.
Maybe he'll join back.
Yep.
See, so we thought Kiran would start with the core patches first.
Yep.
So yeah. Mm,
All right. Let's see if he can join. If he's having like technical issues, we can chat about that
so
and try.
do
Sorry, go ahead.
how do you prefer? Do you want me to go through the demo first and we'll go through the code walkthrough? Or I think it makes sense to go through code walkthrough first. But I don't know, you give a suggestion because we are waiting for Kiran on the go, right? So
Yeah, I think that works for me. I'm not sure if everyone is okay with that. But yeah, it would fine on my end. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, I think that is good idea.
Right.
okay. So
Right.
I
I'll
hope
stop
everyone
sharing, and you can do screen sharing. Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
aware of the feature, but if not, I'm just going to make it in 2 3 lines. So basically we are going to create a share with encryption, and it does encrypt the share that is created on the filer, but actual encryption is being happened at the share server level. So that is actually at a high level that we are going to do. So this is the doc that we prepared for the design purpose internally, and if someone would like to go through, I will share it to the Carlos, and we can go through. But within no time, let's directly jump into the demo. Okay, so we usually, how we create for DHSS2, we usually create the network, and apart from that, everything should be same. So how the encryption key ref is getting created is using this command. This is pre-created, and we are just passing it as part of the share create. So I have the setup ready. I would go live. So I'm not going to create a network here, not going to create an encryption key ref as well because I have it created. So I just tested it sometime back and I have it ready. I'm going to find the share create API like I'm showing on the screen on the network two, and with the share encryption key ref having the UUID, and also encryption type. So we will get more details into the type when we go to the walkthrough session of the code. We need to have the type with the extra spec share server. So I will just fire this and let's see, what gets created and how it goes on the on tap side. So I'll just, if you see share instance created successfully, we just do show. Yeah, if you see the share is created and you can see the encryption key ref here. Uh, and the share is with the name this one. So I'll directly jump into the on tap and show whether it is created as encrypt true or false. So this is the on tap that I have used, uh, and so it gets created as a volume on tap. So if you see the share as, I mean, the volume has got created encrypt as true, but I would want to show some more details on the V server level as well, so that we can be sure that it is encrypted with the Barbican thing that we actually developed. So this is the share server that got created out of the share creation that we just did now. So if you see the key store type is Barbican, and the config name is this one that we created, and the state is active. That means the key store is active and enabled. So to see some more details, with encryption key ref stuff, right? Barbican show with this vServer. So these are the exact details that we passed. This is the UUID of the encryption key that we passed, and these are the application credentials. These Kiran works that been used in our driver, and this is the keystone URL. So these three demonstrates that we are able to create a share with encrypted. Basically we are able to create an encrypted share, and also we are configuring our share server, that is vServer, with the Barbican key store. So it's very quick, for the demo. So this is all from my side on the demo side. Mm. And if Kiran is in or if any doubts, we can discuss on this. Yeah. So
Right.
that's all on the demo from my side, Carlos.
Thanks
Thanks.
for presenting the demo. Yeah.
Sorry. Would you mind sharing that document with Carlos so he can share with us?
I will ask
Thank you. Yeah,
Carlos to share it to everybody. Maybe I will how to share. I'll discuss with Carlos and I will share it. Maybe I'll paste it somewhere and share it. Definitely.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Very clear demo.
Yeah. Pretty good. Thanks, Sai.
Thanks a lot.
I see we have some problems with Meetpad. Is everyone? I've asked in the chat and I've got some positive response. But do you think we should switch to Google Meet? Yeah, I think it would be a good thing at this point, considering, yeah. Right. I'm opening a new meeting on Google Meet. Sorry about the hiccup. I sometimes Meetpad doesn't help a lot, so I'm pasting the Google Meet in the chat. Please, could you please join that meeting instead, and then I'll stop the recording here and we can continue there. It tends to be more stable and do not drop people, so sorry about the
Sure.
hiccups. Back on Google Meet now, and recording is on. Apologies for the hiccup. We switched to Google Meet instead of Meetpad, and we just had the demo from Sai. As again, this is very valuable. Thanks for working on this demo, Sai. I think we can possibly get, I don't know if someone has questions for Sai on the demo, or if we should jump to the code review part. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we can go through the NetApp code after we're done with the main series. But if we are pressed for time, I had a couple of questions. I mean, one of them might be straightforward. So are you able to get all of the information that you need from the share manager's interface? And is that only with the create share server call, or do you need the encryption info, which means the encryption key, the application credential info, etc., through the other calls as well? Have you tested, like, creating snapshots, replicas, all the other driver operations that happen?
We didn't actually test snapshot, not even replica. We just tested, create and delete, Gautam. If needed, we will perform testing on that as well.
Yes, please. I think, I mean, there's a very good chance this is not being used in isolation, right? For somebody that is using encrypted shares, they actually are going to use all of the other features in Manila, presumably. So let's go ahead and test everything else to see what is it that this share manager needs to hand over to the share driver each time. And maybe there's not much, because you've, I mean, ONTAP has cached a bunch of details, and that's fine. But yeah, it's good to know whether all of that is working.
So in case of ONTAP Manila, the snapshots would be volume snapshots, right? So in this case, we don't see any issues on volume snapshot, but I think replication is something that we should test because there is a chance that the secondary site where we are trying to replicate, there we will have to see what is the behavior.
Sure. Got it, Anu.
Sure.
So there are a couple of ways to test that. You can, of course, do the manual test. You can do CI, but a lot of the tests are also automated in Manila Tempest plugin. So if you are able to get a clean run, or like just set up a DevStack VM and run Manila Tempest plugin tests on the environment with these changes, I think that will cover a lot of the scenarios that can help. So I would recommend please do that, but also do the manual testing and share the outputs. Yeah.
Sure, Carlos. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my concern is with the encrypted shares in particular.
Right.
So technically, you can get regression tests. You should, right? And I'm really hoping that's where the CI is to be helpful. But I'm thinking more about, you have a encrypted type, you have encryption keys, you have encrypted shares at that point. Can the user continue to do everything that they were doing with non-encrypted shares?
We will test and come back. Sure, Gautam. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, they should likely end up in the CI as well, right? Like the tests implemented in Manila Tempest plugin. Currently, we have the test for creating shares, but at the end, right, there are a lot of other operations. Yeah, there are lots of other operations happening as well. So I would say maybe we should also look at other tests and other possibilities, because this feature can impact a lot of other things. So everything that creates a share based on another, like backups, encryption, all of that should be potential features to test as well. Not potential, but we should test them. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions on the demo? All right. If not, maybe we can switch to the code review part of this. Kiran, would you like to take over screen share?
Okay. Is it visible?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
Could you please zoom in a little bit? Yeah. I mean, I can see it fine, but I was, yeah, maybe for the recording, this is gonna be, yeah.
Okay. So we want to go by file or by the workflow, like.
I think, yeah,
Yeah. So
workflow works. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
okay, let's go file by. So basically, this is the parameters. This is being updated after Gautam's request to have different parameters for the request and response.
Kiran, can I interrupt? Sorry. I did not this thing. So yes, please let's go through the workflow because I think it might be very confusing because this file by file organization is going to be based on alphabetical listing of the files. So if folks are not familiar with how things work, we'll be jumping back and forth. So let's try to cover it from what is the interactions, right? So let's maybe the administrator starts with creating share types. What happens then, and versus what the user is going to see.
Yeah. Could you please zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, it's very small. I mean, font is small. Can't see that.
Yeah, it
Yep.
seems better now. I'm not sure if for everyone, but it seems better now. Yeah.
Better now.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
Okay, so let me check. So basically, the existing workflow of share type creation hasn't changed anything, but in the share type creation method, where we look for the extra specs, we basically validate the extra specs, and at that time, we are making sure that if the encryption support is being asked, it should be having valid values of encryption types. Otherwise, basically, the share creation will fail. Like instead of having share or share server, if user specifies some other values, the share type creation itself will fail. So that is a simple change with respect to share types. With respect to shares, there will be different create method for this additional change in API for this encryption key ref. This will mostly land into this V1 share where so we have already validated the share type, but it might possible that end user is using the share type which is already present into the system and it is missing the encryption support. So we also need to verify at this place that the share type that is being selected for creation of the share is indeed having the valid encryption support values. And also, we, as of today, considering it is supported on the NetApp backend, it is supported only for DHSS true scenario. It doesn't support with the predefined share servers. So this condition of DHSS is also being validated here. So mostly into the API layer. Yeah, once this is being landed into the share API, we first check whether it's a valid UID. Previously, there was a check of converting valid UID as well as converting href into the UID, but that is being removed since we are now supporting only UID. Once this is being validated as a UID, we also make sure that we are within the quota. And how we check is basically we check from the existing encryption key ref. That means if the encryption key ref is already existing, that means we don't need to check for the quota. It will be another share under existing share server. But if it's a new encryption key ref, we validate the quota and accordingly we raise the exception. Once this is being checked.
Pause you for a sec, Kiran. That just on that particular part of the logic here. So the encryption key ref is associated with the share as far as the user input is concerned, right? It's not associated with the share network.
No, it's not associated with the share network. It's associated with the share and share server.
Okay. And the share server get all with filters. Is it scope to a project?
Yeah, it's scope to the project. I mean, this new table that we have added specifically for counting the encryption key under this specific project.
Right. Yeah, but my concern is that the code on line 492 and 493, which is retrieving the share servers for a given encryption key, and then the one that's actually looking at the count of the project's encryption keys on 495 and 496 might be disconnected. But I'm not. I mean, you're more familiar with that code than I am. And so the suggestion that I had for you with the share and with the quota itself was honestly trying to drive towards simplicity, and part of that is because I mean, I think we had this discussion at the PTG as well. We will be extending this stuff that you're doing, and possibly in the next cycle itself, with share encryption at the per share level for some of the other drivers, notably SFFS. So I don't think even in that case that you can have an endless number of encryption keys, right? So an administrator must still have some sort of a knob to control how
But
many encryption
this
keys.
is not for controlling the encryption key. This is for controlling the share servers. Because if we keep creating multiple share servers, like new share server for each encryption key, we end up using multiple resources that comes under the share server. And just to save those resources, this additional stuff has been introduced.
Right. So my concern was if you can actually have the coda just cover the encryption keys, would it not solve your use case? What would go wrong? Like in terms of, let's say, if you let a project have a maximum of 3 encryption keys, let's say, would that also not cover the aspect that you can have only X number of share servers? I'm not saying it will map directly to 3, but if you've a well configured cloud, that might end up mapping exactly to 3. In case you're not letting the share type span multiple backends and so on. And from what I see in the NetApp logic, you're always going to reuse the same share server if it is the same backend, unless there are some limits configured.
No, unless it's the same encryption key ref, not the same backend.
That's what I mean. Like if you, as long as you're using the same encryption key, unless there are some limits configured, which again, that's a different thing that the driver supports, you're probably always ending up in the same share server, right? Because that's
Mhm.
like the only other criteria for NetApp to qualify or disqualify share servers.
Mhm.
So does it make sense for us to simplify this to just have a quota on the encryption keys itself? Um, and part of the reason I also prefer that is because we're not doing all of these DHSS root checks right at the top, right off the gate, because those things are happening in the scheduler. So we're actually duplicating those checks. So when every time you parse something from the share type, whether it's a capability or I mean, like any directive to the stuff that's also being checked in the scheduler, the API is not really required to do that unless there's a strong reason to say we need this early feedback.
I think that might be the reason. So I want to introduce this. This has come after the use cases that I discussed with the NetApp that we don't support with the DHSS. That's the reason this condition
Right.
has been introduced.
Yeah,
But if
but
you are strongly against that, I am fine with removing.
yeah, I mean, from the get-go, and you're aware of this, you're a core reviewer as well. We don't design something for a specific backend, right? I mean, it's very much possible that NetApp tomorrow will start implementing with DHSS false as well. So then
I
we wouldn't want to change the API
think
too much to accommodate that.
I don't know, but like this was been told that they won't be supporting the DHSS false.
Yeah, for sure. I meant like technically.
Anyways, like what changes you need right now in this encryption key ref at line number 491 and 492?
Yeah, so I'm suggesting, I think I had comments already. The way you're enforcing the quota can change, so you can technically track the resource IDs and still enforce the quota. So you would probably try to capture the project ID from the context and check against that table, asking how many encryption keys have I already seen for this particular project ID, and check that against a quota that's been set. And that's it. It's very simple. It can be, and I'm not even sure you need all of this logic if you can actually incorporate that into the quotas logic, which is to I mean, I know it's looking at a different table, but maybe there could be some tweaks over there. If not, I'm okay with something where there's a DB specific DB
No,
method
but we don't have
specifically
any
for this.
quotas for the share server as of today.
Yes, we don't, and I'm not looking to introduce any at all.
So how do you think that use the existing quota?
Not the existing quota. I meant it's going to be a quota on encryption keys and not on server encryption keys or share encryption keys. It's just going to be a quota on your encryption keys.
So
So
you mean to say that we'll be having a single quota of the encryption keys,
yes,
which will for the both. But how do we identify whether it's for the share or it's for the share server?
we don't need to, right? At the quota level, do we need to?
Yeah, we need to. That is the main reason, right? We don't need to. We introduce this quota to make sure that not multiple share servers will be created unnecessarily
in the
under
same network.
given.
No,
Yeah,
I get that part, but I mean, like, here's a small this thing with that, right? You're looking at an encryption key ref across all of the backends. Give me all the share servers across all of the backends. Even before a new share is landed, we don't know where it's landing. We don't know which share server it's going to land on, but we're enforcing like this global quota based on the number of share servers that already have this encryption key ref,
mhm.
right? So there's already an issue of it might end up in a new backend altogether and create a new share server over there. Um, So my concern is it's going to be
But
imprecise unless you move this logic to the share manager. This is kind of what I was trying to tell you during the spec design phase. So unless you know exactly where you've landed, to control how many share servers, etc., is going to be quite hard. So from the get-go, I was trying to suggest, let's just have a quota on the number of encryption keys that a project can use. And what that'll do to you is it'll in turn control the number of share servers you can spawn, right? And let's say there's a customer who's
isn't it
Mhm. Go ahead.
no? But isn't it? I mean, if we are keeping the single quota for both share and share servers,
Mhm.
for example, let's say this quota is having max value of 10, and out of the 10, 9 encryption keys are associated with a share server, and one is only associated with a share. If we end up allowing the next encryption key, it again can go on the share server, and basically it will end up creating multiple, I mean, more share server just because we are using the same quota, combining multiple resources like share and share servers. Because then that will make the assumption wrong what we had with respect to having this quota on preserving or controlling the share server resources.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I get that scenario completely, but I think you're trending towards if you just had. I mean, it is still possible that the backend might end up creating more share servers, right? Like because
Yeah,
it could be under your quota, but the backend might end up creating more share servers. Yeah, that's totally possible. But we're not talking in terms of like tens, right? We're hoping that somebody sets a reasonable quota on this per their backend's capacity. So we're still talking like you said, maybe 10 encryption keys. That's all you're ever going to see as a project. And that should be okay. I don't see why you know, why that would be problematic. Maybe you'll need to explain that scenario to me, and maybe that's okay to take off of this. Maybe we can have this discussion at the end if we have some time. But just wanted to put a thing in your brain that this is one thing that looked concerning to me. The whole quota enforcement logic. I felt like we were inventing something specifically for this, and we're also changing the share API and checking for capabilities and things like that when we shouldn't be. All of that was organically already happening in the scheduler. So you're not going to. I mean, the only thing that you're optimizing for was for this quota control, and that's where my suggestion was to change that. Um, to be something more broad. It should not affect the way NetApp expects this, which is
no, but if I remember, we had discussed to have this quota check into the API layer,
yes,
right?
yes. I still want that in the API layer, not in the share manager. And my concern was that to actually make this work for exactly what, let's say, NetApp's restriction of we don't want to have an innumerable number of share servers. We don't want we want some way to stop that. The A more precise control would be to implement something like that at the share manager level. And so I'm not opposed to something that the driver does, right? Like if the driver detects, okay, I'm running out of hardware or something like that, it's totally fine for the driver to set some limits. There are already mechanisms for that to do that. But my concern is more about how does an administrator control this? And it's not really precise if you're doing it, if you're checking for all the share servers and applying a quota in the API. So I feel like we're going to give them a broken experience, and then we're going to come back next cycle and change it anyway, because somebody wants to write a share per share encryption. You see what I mean? Like the API is just not going to be clean in that uh, way. I mean, this was kind of my whole point of driving it towards at the beginning, this was supposed to be per share encryption, but then it became share server encryption. But I didn't want it to pigeonhole on just one kind of implementation. That's landing in this cycle, because there are other backends, and we probably don't want to design something too specific.
So basically, we are supposed to have a single encryption keys quota for various resources.
Yes.
So instead of having the share server ID, that will be a resource ID reference.
Right. And you can enforce that quota just like what we have, which is you can put it on share types. You can put it,
Yeah.
you can use it with projects.
No, I think for project is fine, but I'm still not convinced to have a single quota for various resources. But let it be that way, since you think so.
Yeah, we can talk about that, specifically, at the end of this if you want. And, maybe I'm not seeing something that you are, and let's dive into that.
No, just because it contains multiple resources. That's the reason I think it should be different. Different quota for shares, different for the share server, and in future whatnot. So anyways, so we can discuss this.
Yep.
The next thing would be creating the secret access for this. Basically, this encryption key ref, which is being provided by the end user, is validated by talking with Barbican. Yeah, so this here we create the ACL. So we have defined one Barbican user in the conf file, which will act as a technical user or credential user, something like that, which will perform all this communication with Barbican on behalf of Manila end users. So whatever the secret that is being created is created by the Manila end user, and now we are accessing, we are granting ACL to the Barbican end user. If there are any issues, then that will be communicated back by raising the exception. Otherwise, if it goes well, I think we are done with landing all this information. So we store that information, this encryption key ref in the share instance. As I
Quick
said, like
question, Kiran, on the Barbican user, what is this Barbican user that needs the ACL?
what do you
Yeah,
mean by what is the
who needs the ACL? So technically, the
Barbican
user that.
Barbican user, because the secret is created by the end user.
Mhm.
So we grant ACL to the Barbican user so that Barbican user can access that secret.
And why is that required? Is that because we're creating application credentials down the line?
Right. And then
Okay.
have to pass the same.
Is it possible to
So
this logic along with the application credential logic?
is it possible what?
To move this logic to a place where we actually create the application credentials?
Yeah, it's possible, but then again, we are basically filtering one layer above by making.
What kind of filtering? I didn't
I mean,
really.
if
Mhm.
we are trying to create the ACL here to make sure that all the Barbican communication and everything is right. Otherwise, we raise error from here itself. In other case, we do everything into the share manager.
Yeah, I think the reason that would be okay is because here's a deal. This share is not yet scheduled. There's a chance it won't get scheduled, but we are going to be creating a ACL on something that is a secret, even before we've
But
accepted the request to to actually schedule it.
yeah, I mean, we can do there also, but is there any issue as such of having verification here?
I just said it. Like, I mean, I mean, what if we don't schedule the share? What if the scheduler rejects the share, and then you'll have to, I mean, technically, you'll have to remove the ACL so that it's, you're not really giving yourself access to a user's secret that you're not ending up using.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, if the application credential creation is failed,
Not the application credential failed actually. Well, I think what Gautam is trying to say is
yeah,
this
right.
is
If the application credential fail or scheduling is failed, we should delete the
yeah.
ACL in the manager layer.
Yes.
Okay, I'll kind of move this into the manager. Anything else on this?
No, looks good.
Yeah, then we store this information into the share instance, and then we schedule the share creation call. And this, based on the capabilities supported by the driver and etc., it will go into the share manager. So in the share manager, there is this existing work.
Sorry. Okay. Just a point on that share instance thing. I think we discussed that in the last review. So we're saving the encryption key ref on the share instance,
Yeah,
and your thought was that we might have a different share encryption key for a different share instance, like for replicas, for
share
instance.
replica. Yeah, yeah.
Is that possible? Like with OnTap, is it possible to have two different keys?
Anyways, the share replica will go under the different share server, right?
Not. Yeah, sure. Yeah. The-
Then that will be having a different encryption key ref because that is associated with the share server.
okay, it's worth testing that. And when you're looking at I mean, right now you're not, and you're not accepting an encryption key ref with the replica creation, correct?
All right, replica creation. Yeah, that is something in the spec we decided that everything will be done in the next release. We are basically considering only the share creation in this release.
Okay. Yeah, my concern was in case this isn't required at the encryption, sorry, the instance level, it can just move to the share. But I'm curious.
No, I think because anyways, like we are passing the share instance to the backend driver,
We're
and as I
passing the
said,
share instance and the share data. It's basically combined at that level.
right, but as I said, with the replica, we can have a different encryption key ref since it will land into the different share server. I don't see any issue having this into the share instance.
Okay.
In the share manager, then we check whether if your encryption key is being provided in the share server creation call. So everything, this encryption key ref is being landed through this request spec. Somewhere down the line. So basically, when the call goes to the scheduler, right, and in the share manager, we pass the request spec that is being configured with filter properties and etc. So in that, we get the encryption key ref as well. also we pass the share instance in this call, so we get the encryption key ref here. So what we check, if there is an encryption key ref for which where for of the existing the share instance for which we are trying to create a share server, and we check based upon the capabilities whether uh, we can create the encrypted share server for the backend. If we do that in the existing call of creating the share server, there is this additional checks of checking for the quota, the server encryption keys quota, and then this creation of application credential. If both thing goes well, we pass this encryption key ref and the application credential ID. We store this into the share server, and we basically also pass this information to the backend driver. If we have created, if you are using the share server which is being already created, we basically fetch the application credential ID credentials from the credential ID, because while storing, we are storing only application credential ID. However, while passing the information to the backend driver, we need to pass ID as well as secret. This thing, application credential ID and application credential secret. And also the requirement of the backend driver is to get the whole secret href instead of just UID. So we rebuild the secret href from the UID that we have, and we generate this href, and then we pass this into metadata to the actual share server creation call. So all this information will be stored by the backend driver, and it then uses into the it basically uses this during the share creation. I think this is the, and if we get the quota error, we throw the exception and everything. So this is the and also at the time of deletion of share server, we check if application credential exists. Then we first delete the application credential, and then we proceed with the deleting share server.
Hey,
Yeah,
Kiran, would you be opposed to just, sorry,
no, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, just quickly, Carlos, there's a lot of the Barbican and Barbican API and whatnot in this stuff in the share manager. Would you be opposed to treating this like the networking logic? I think we abstracted away everything into the network module, and we just make a call, we get what the information is, and so on,
Yeah, but
instead of having it inline like this in the code.
no, but it is done in the same way, right? We are simply calling create and delete. Everything is wrapped under the Barbican itself. I mean, how can we optimize the
Maybe not this one, but I did see like a big blob of
which
code
one?
there. Just give me a sec.
No, we are not creating anything. Like below you see delete, and here you see create. These are the only two API calls. There is no logic as such with respect to application credentials.
Okay, my bad then. Continue, please.
Yeah, it's a create, and then it's a get, and it's a delete. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is
sorry to interrupt. I have another question. I think it was like line 800 something. Like the first check you do on the choose share, share server compatible with share. Yeah, at the top, like line 818. Are we doing this? Is kind of like me lacking some context. Are we doing some other checks in ensuring, because at this point we know whether the driver supports encryption or not. But did you check that somewhere else? Because if the encryption key ref was provided at this point and the driver doesn't support, then that means, yeah, we should throw an exception there. Are we doing that check somewhere else?
this encryption key.
Yeah.
No, if I see if encryption support is being not provided in the capabilities by the backend driver, then most likely we will not come here. We
Yeah,
will come here only if the encryption support will have value of either share and the share server.
yeah, that's correct. Thank you. I misremembered the share type piece. So yeah, thanks for that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so this is basically into the share manager, and most of the other files are with respect to the tests. And I mean, this is the main logic behind uh, share server uh, encryption. And then there is this connecting pull request from the NetApp, which does the actual stuff. With respect to DB, this encryption key ref, now instead of having the share server, it will be having some resource ID. So basically, it will manage multiple resources. That is the one thing. And moving the ACL from Barbican from API layer to the manager layer. Yeah. Do we
Yeah.
need
The other
any other?
concern I see is in case if let's say I mean there are the other share manager actions. So you're passing the same metadata, which includes the share encryption, sorry, encryption key ref. It'll be part of the share instance, the and the share server, and the application credential ID will be in the backend details. Is there anything else that's getting passed to the?
For the backend, we are passing application credential ID secret. The
Mhm.
existing encryption key ref has a UID, and we also pass to the keystone URL because the backend driver doesn't have the keystone URL to talk with Barbican. And
I
at
see.
least this is the requirement from the NetApp.
Right.
What is okay? So we're looking into our own auth token and providing our keystone URL. Okay. Let me think about just that part for one. Can you take us through the Barbican integration, the configuration, and the APIs that you're using?
So with respect to Barbican, we are having as of now 5 APIs for creating secret access, creating, deleting, and getting the application credentials, and getting the whole href from the UID. This creation of secret ACL, I haven't added the delete secret ACL because I think I had checked somewhere that if you delete the secret, then ACL will also get deleted automatically. But as a follow-up, I will also add that method. So here, now, so basically both method have the same interface. So what we do, we check for the valid backend, and then from the end user credentials, we basically create the Barbican client for the end user, and we uh, we basically in the create secret access method, we get this Barbican client for the end user, and we also create the Barbican client for our Barbican user, the one that we have defined into the config file, and we grant ACL for this Barbican user using the client that is being created by the end user credentials. So that's how we get the ACL. These are the internal methods of getting the endpoint, the internal endpoints, and etc. based on the config file. So this class of secret ACL is just doing two things. First is to provide the href to the backend driver and creating the secret ACL. And then there is this another class for the application credentials, and it does the three things. It does application credential creation, deletion, and the get call. In the creation method, what we do, we create the application credentials for the existing end user, and we pass the roles service because this is the role of Barbican end user, and we provide the access rule for get API, only the get API for the secret and secret payload. The secret is needed to fetch the secret and payload to get the actual data within the secrets. And I think this is the granular one. Initially, when we started, we were just had this secret path for the get method, and then we found some issues while debugging, after which we made it granular to be focused only on getting the secret and its payload. Yes, this is the only thing that we have in the Barbican. Nothing much.
And so far, we're using the delete application credentials just on rollback, right?
No, we are
Yeah.
using the delete application credential while deleting. Yeah, I mean, while deleting the share server is one case, and if there is any error that we get after creation of application credential, like we create the application credential and then we create the share server.
Yeah.
Which is mostly creation into the DB, so generally it don't fail. But in future, if you have any conditions, then this delete application credential is generally a fallback. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the same concern there. I know you're going to check about it, but when you're unmanaging a share server or you're deleting a share server, those might be times where you want to remove both the ACL on the user's secret as well as the application credentials that were made for accessing that stuff. I don't know about unmanaged case because all we're doing is removing the use of Manila from it, or rather the share server from Manila. So you may not want to delete the application credentials, but at least you want to remove the ACL, right? I don't know, or is that
No,
right?
it's other way around because application credential as of now is only associated with the share server. So if you are unmanaging, then probably yeah. If you are unmanaging, ideally because if we delete the application credential while the unmanaged, then we have to create them again while
Yeah, somebody
managed.
else has to create. Oh yeah, for sure.
That is the reason we, as of now, that's the reason this unmanaged thing was blocked. But I don't think we should delete because then we have to create again from there. And then if we have to create, then we have to also update the DB instead of creating the share server. Or basically we keep as it is, like we don't delete the application credentials.
Yeah, but what if
Because if
somebody wants to use a different secret at that point when they're trying to unmanage and remanage? Is that something that the driver will block today?
I'm not sure of from the driver point of view. Sai, do you have any thoughts?
No info on that. Need to check, Kiran. Maybe we can sync up once and give the response.
So basically, Gautam is suggesting a use case where someone is trying to manage a share server.
Yeah.
But how? So what you are saying, Gautam, is that when someone is trying to manage a share server, it checks if there exists an encryption key ref with that share server. But how it's possible to have the encryption key ref?
What do you mean? Like when you're managing the share server again?
Yeah, because as of now, the encryption key ref is being coming from the end user while creating a share.
Correct, correct.
But if you're
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, manage and unmanage, one of the biggest use cases is maintenance, right? So technically, there's something you're lifting and shifting out of your OpenStack cloud. You might want to unmanage all of the resources so you can take it to your new OpenStack cloud. And before you unmanage, you probably gather all of the data that's required, or maybe you've made a record of all the stuff that needs to happen, which includes, okay, let's go ahead and create new secret. Let's go ahead and capture all the secrets, the UUIDs and whatnot. And when we remanage, we're going to provide the same things so that the share is properly configured on Manila in the new destination.
so if you're going to use the same IDs, then we should not be deleting the application credential,
I,
right?
I, and so that's where I mean, right now, I think what we have in the unmanaged workflow is we have checks like this.
Yeah,
So if
unmanaged check is something I have removed, but I haven't removed the migration check.
No, not the API check. I meant if you're trying to unmanage, there's some things that the driver can take a call about. If there's some Manila specific configuration that it has to remove or keep, it's something that the driver decides. And so you could possibly put something in here that says, remove all of the encryption, or delete encryption metadata or something like that, uh, or not retain all of that stuff. That's worth investigating for this.
But if you're unmanaging the share, do we make sure that all the shares under that share server are gone? Because
Yeah,
then we cannot remove the encryption key ref.
yeah, right. Today, that's what the logic is. You can unmanage share by share and end up unmanaging your share server.
Okay, so
And if
does
it's
this need
something that,
any?
Mhm. Go ahead.
I mean, does this need any driver changes like to
It
support the
depends.
unmanaged?
It depends. If let's say it is hard, it is not possible to re-encrypt the whole thing. Let's say you don't ever want to support a use case where somebody can change their access secret. That's just not, me making up things right now, right? Let's say NetApp can't do this. So maybe the NetApp has logic in its unmanaged section that basically says, we're not going to drop any of the application credentials, etc. And then when the manage operation comes in again, NetApp makes sure that the shares are already not encrypted. If they are encrypted, then the request should contain the same encryption ID, encryption ref, or
Because this
else you fail the
application
manage
credential,
operation.
because this application credentials, everything goes to the ONTAP and
Hmm.
it reuses the same information for the next share.
Hmm.
So most likely it retains all this data and
Yeah, that's totally possible. So it's a call that ONTAP has to make, and the driver. But just worth exploring, because that's yet another way that you can create resources in Manila, right? It's not just with the create API, it's also with the manage API.
Right.
So make sure to test both of those, and if you have limitations, have guards around it. It's okay to warn the administrator that when something is happening or when they're trying to do something wrong.
okay, so I just
Yeah.
take a note of this and probably in the next iteration of testing.
Sure, Kiran. Yeah, noted.
Okay, apart from
Yeah.
this,
I had another question with that key manager stuff. Explain this to me, because I'm very confused at this state about Castellan and Barbican usage. I think why you're not using Castellan entirely is because you're doing some ACLs and application credentials stuff,
yeah,
which
and
is not present in
yeah,
Castellan.
right, and I also need to have the secret href need to be provided to the backend.
I see. Okay.
Castellan
Mhm.
doesn't provide.
Yeah. So in that case, why are we even integrating with Castellan? Because I did see that
Yeah,
Octavia, I think,
because
has. Mhm.
this Castellan option, it has a way internal functions which parse all the conf file section. Otherwise, I have to write all that code manually of parsing everything.
Really? Okay. Because I think, I mean,
Because that is the only use you see in this file for the Castellan. This and this.
yeah. All right. I was going to check. I was showing you some code from Nova where I don't think, I mean, they're not using all of the APIs that you're using. So maybe that's the reason. It looks a lot simpler for them because Castellan only can do a few operations and that's all Nova needs. But I did see that in projects like Tacker and Octavia, they are using Barbican directly the way you are. I'm not sure they were using Castellan as well. So it's worth checking if there's something else.
This is like, as I said, like this is mostly or predominantly only for parsing this Barbican and the key manager section that we have in the conf file. This function of Castellan option set defaults gets all this information and does check, and basically if there is anything wrong, then raises exception and accept everything.
I agree
I
with you.
don't.
I'm just hoping if I mean because we're introducing another requirement, I'm just wondering if that's what is expected of us. Like use both the projects, even if they both provide some level of common functionality in some sense. But yeah, I mean, I'll defer to your judgment over there. But when I'm doing the review, I'll take a look as well.
Yeah, but I mean, on a given setup of OpenStack, there is a high chance that if any other service is using the Castellan, Manila can use the same Castellan. Like it's
Yeah,
not
for
some
sure. No,
additional.
I'm not concerned about like having a new Castellan service or something, but more about how is Manila configured, right? That's my concern. And when you put something in the requirements file, we're baking it
No, but
into the.
Manila doesn't need to define any Castellan section for this.
Mhm.
Manila just need to define only the key manager section and the Barbican section. It doesn't need to define the Castellan section.
Right.
The one which is using the Castellan API uses the Castellan section, might be. We are using the Castellan more as a library, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Makes sense.
Okay. So would you add the comments or I mean additional, if there is any other comments that you have in mind, or I just assume that the two things that you need is to moving the secret access to the manager and changing the quota to the global resources. I mean generic
Yeah.
resources.
On
Okay.
my part, yes. But I will take a look again at the code today.
Okay. Okay. Apart from this, anyone need any information? Otherwise, I'll hand over to the Sai and then he can continue the driver part.
Yeah, thanks. I'm good on that, and thanks for responding to all of the comments in the change. Most of the concerns I had are already sorted, and you've posted the updates to the change. So thanks for that. But all good discussions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
I will share my screen, Carlos.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the main driver patch that we have. Hope you are able to see my screen, right? So is it okay? Should I increase the font?
Seems okay to me. Is everyone okay with
Yeah,
it?
it is okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start from the workflow point of view. Anyway, there are little number of files, but let's go through the workflow point of view. So first code change that we did is respect to the the type. I mean that we are adding here whatever is needed as part of the capability and so from manager, this call comes. I mean, the choose share server compatible with the share. So there we added our encryption key, and then it goes to this one, and which is in the multi SVM code. So I'll come to this part later. We will go through one by one. So here it comes, and then we are just adding the encryption key ref here, and it will go to this method, check use of share server. So here we are just checking whether we have any share server that can be reused. If we have any encryption key ref attached to that share server, that which is passing the same key, that we will pick it. If not, we will land on to the usual share server creation. So I see a comment here. Should we discuss this now, Carlos? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a question that I had there. So this is the check reuse share server function, right? And
When you mean other shared servers, we are going to have only one shared server per network, right? So there won't be other shared servers, right, for this to be suitable.
You
So
can have multiple share servers per network, site. It's
no,
it's
no,
something that the driver already supports.
no. We support only per share server per network, right? From the driver point of view.
No, it's not. The NetApp driver does support multiple share servers per network.
yes,
Okay.
it will depend a lot on the capacity, and there's even a way for you to cap the amount of shares that can be created in a share server through an extra spec, if I recall correctly. So yeah, that means like as soon as you hit that cap, or for any other reason that the driver decides, the driver might end up creating a different share server whenever you hit the cap, or something that the driver determined. So there's a chance that yes, one share network might have more multiple share servers. But the point there is when I'm looking at that, so we get to check reuse share server, and it's being called as part of the choose share server compatible with share, right? And then we iterate through the share servers, and what we are expecting, for example, there and in the other occasions as well, is whenever we have a share server that does not match, we return false instead of raising an exception. And in this case, the check that you're doing right there is you check if there is an encryption key ref, and if the encryption key ref is different from the encryption key ref of the share server. Wouldn't that be
No,
the
but
case of just not allowing this share server to be reused instead of raising an exception? Just
we are, I think we discussed, maybe I'll come back, but I remember that's why I wrote this message here. The available share server under the provided share network is already configured with a different encryption key. Please create a share on the different network. So I'm thinking we are going to only have one, share server per encryption key, right? So there won't be any other share server that will match this encryption key ref.
That's not something that the driver needs to enforce. This is
Mhm.
kind of why we're providing that quota control, right? It's going to be a coarse control over this, but it will be. Do you have a problem creating share servers at all? Like
I
I mean,
think we discussed this when Saravanan was there. I
mhm.
remember this. We are going to have only per network one share server. We don't want to create more share servers because of the resource stuff, right?
No, but
So go ahead, Kiran.
we can have multiple share servers under the same share network.
Okay. Yeah, we can have, but I don't think so far at NetApp level we have been, encouraging that. So maybe okay, this is something we will discuss more on because that was the understanding initially. That's why it is written like this. So we need to discuss this and
But
finalize.
why have you written? I mean, why the share network comes into the picture here?
Which one? This one? No, no. That's what we are passing one share network, right? When creating the share. So that's why I clearly mentioned we are going to support. I mean, this model suits that we are going to have only one share server per network. So with that, I actually gave network ID and stuff saying that please use different network per share creation so that it will create a different share server with the different encryption key ref that is passed. So I think maybe some discussion is needed at NetApp level, maybe if that is the case.
Yeah, there's a few things that I mean,
Mhm.
like I think in the driver it might not be obvious, but what's happening at the share manager is that this method, the one with the give me a compatible share server, right? You're actually going to get a list of share servers that have been already filtered out of the share network that exists, right? So in case there are no share servers, that's when the driver will be asked to create a new share server for a given network and subnet. But if there are some share servers available for a given network and subnet, the driver will be given all those share servers and asked, can you accommodate the share in any of these share servers? That's the call you're actually implementing right now, and you're improving that to include this check on encryption. And what Carlos is saying is you're going to be given a list of share
Yeah,
servers,
yeah.
and so you want to go through that list and basically, look at each encryption setting. And if it's not
Yeah.
compatible, make sure that you're returning back saying, okay, that share server is not compatible, but don't block the creation of the new share server or something of that sort. Um, because I,
Network.
yeah,
No, no,
exactly.
I understand that point, but yeah, that decision I will come back on this and I will change the code accordingly. Yeah.
No, no,
I mean, I
what
understand,
he has written is like instead of raising exception here, you should return the false and
right?
let have another share servers to continue to check.
Yeah, yeah. So that is when we will try to create a new share server, right? Instead of reusing one, basically. So
No,
I
no,
think the point.
creation is a separate part. Here, you get a multiple share servers, and you have to provide one compatible amongst them. If you cannot provide one
Okay.
compatible
So you should
amongst them,
return a
you
false instead of exception, basically.
yeah to
Got it.
iterate all the share servers that you have.
No, no, that the ask is very clear for me, but I was under the impression that I explained right per share server per network. But okay, I will come back on this, Gautam Carlos. It's a minor change. I understand. I mean,
Yeah, at this point, can I ask you to dive a little deeper into the thing? Because I remember that discussion that we were having before we started writing all of this code, right? And
right.
and the idea there is that ONTAP does not have a limit, a hard limit on the on sharing, sorry, on creating more share servers, right? It's technically a limit on the resources, and so we're trying to say we don't want to give away endless amount of resources to end users, right? You could basically game the system and actually create, 100 V servers and bring down the infrastructure or something like that.
Right.
Isn't that the thing? There is no
Right.
hard limitation on, let's say, we can only have 5 share
No,
servers. Like that.
no, nothing like that. But like you said, right,
So
we.
the maximum number of share servers that you can create, I think today is 256.
Hmm.
So that should be possible. I mean, but there is a limitation at the top end,
Yeah.
which is basic. I think that is 256.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling you'll start hitting other limits even before you hit that limit.
Yeah, exactly.
Given
Yeah,
There
stuff.
will be networking issues and there will be other issues that might come into picture because lifts and others, will also end up hitting those issues.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and
So,
what we have observed also is that customers don't the customers try to reuse the V servers instead of creating one with most, I mean, they would like to have less number of servers and less number of management on networking, everything. They would like
Yeah,
to reuse as much as possible.
yeah, for sure. So, I mean, all that given, we have all this flexibility from the API. I don't think the driver should prevent this because you'll have the quota.
Mm.
So that you can enforce that as part of your quota. And let's say some fancy customer that has a lot of different customers of their own, etc. They just want to make sure that their customers can only have one share server per network. So they'll just set the encryption keys quota to one, and their tenants, their customers will only be able to use one encryption key.
Right. Okay, then
All of this will play into what the driver currently already does, because you could also have another customer who is not or another deployment that's not as limited as this, and they're already using our existing features, which includes the share server limit that Carlos was talking about. So they want to partition their networks in a good way. So they want to make sure that they can have a good balance of vServers sitting on each subnet, and so on. And so
right.
you don't want to block those guys because that's an existing feature that.
I'll definitely, take this point and come back on this. See, I'm only searching why I actually have written like this, because if there is a reference that we discussed, I'll come back. Otherwise, I'll change the code, because uh, at the moment I'm not able to see the reference. But I understand this needs to be changed, and we can create more share servers on the network. Mm, yeah, the point is noted. I'll act accordingly. Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, please feel free to respond to the discussion and add more details on the limitations on the share network. But yeah, I think the point there was just like this share server. I think you got it. Like this share server isn't
Right.
suitable, so we should go through the list, not just stop here. So yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. The next thing that is going to be, if we are not able to choose, it is going to create a new share server, right? That's where we added some code, and there must be as part of here. So it usually goes through the regular share server creation when share server is, I mean, when share server is not found, and it will create the share server. So after creating the share server, what I am doing is I'm just calling an API for that share server, and I'm just going to have the Barbican configured. So after creation of the vServer, I'm just having this check, and if it is having the metadata is having the encryption key ref, I'm going to this method that I have written, and I'm just going to configure the Barbican KMS, that is key store management service. So this is the code, and as part of that we are passing some stuff, key reference, config name, because the ONTAP API expects all this. I will go to the API part one by one, because this is where we are passing all of this. But before that, there is a comment from Carlos. Why do you use, I mean, kind of force rest true? So this one, the Barbican APIs are currently, I mean, only present as part of the REST, but we don't want to, block Zappy workflows. Like I said, till here, it can be used Zappy or REST. But if still some customer wants to, they might not enable REST, and through Zappy only, if they want to, have the vServer encrypted with Barbican. So even when the Zappy client is called, we wanted to have this workflow with the REST. That was the only reason we added this code. So is there any issue using like this, because we don't
It
want to
kind of
block.
makes sense that you said, like, ONTAP does not have a Zappy implementation for this, but you also said if they're not configuring it, right? What does that mean? Like, like a deployer has not enabled ONTAP REST or something? Is that?
Right. In the Manila.conf, the user doesn't need to go through, the NetApp legacy client false or true,
Hmm.
irrespective of that. If he wants to create an encryption, share, I mean, so that they can directly create and it will go through this code, even though it is Zappy. But only thing is that when it is Zappy, we don't have the Barbican API available, right? So we are forcing this for the rest for only this workflow, Barbican workflow. We don't
Okay.
want to block. Yeah,
And in such a deployment, is it possible? I mean, this is something that is internal to NetApp, and I wouldn't know. Is it possible that you have to open, port 443 and create a REST API user for ONTAP and so on, and they wouldn't have done that?
Yeah, that's my concern as well. Thanks.
Mm, I don't
Yeah,
think.
so there is a setting on ONTAP. What you do basically is you enable REST API, and there can be a setup where the REST APIs are not enabled, only ZAPIs are enabled, and the alternative is also there. But most of the by default, ZAPIs come as disabled, and REST APIs are always enabled.
Hmm.
But and we have not seen the opposite, right? Most of the customers will have REST APIs enabled now, that because most of the features and most of the manageability tools on ONTAP, they work with REST APIs. ZAPIs are kind of deprecated side of things, and ONTAP is trying to deprecate ZAPIs as soon as possible in recent features.
Right.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. My concern is, do you need any command directories? Do you need any security login credentials, etc., that need to be set up specifically for this feature? Because now that this is a part of the code that's not using Zapier, it's using REST. So will we hit um, an on-tap error that we can't?
we shouldn't, because what happens is, as soon as we call that source flag, right, we switch to the REST client, which is also initialized as part of the driver. So the same
Mhm.
credentials, will also have a Zapier client, and also we'll be
Right.
initializing a REST client. All
Right.
we are doing here is forcing the REST client to be used for this particular use case, because the Zapier implementation is not there. So if the customer has configured Zapier to be used, we are still going to REST, because this feature doesn't have implementation on Zapier.
Okay. Yeah, if that's the case, yes. I think we're concerned just about, I mean, if there is something that needs to be enabled as well, you probably will document it. If there are any licenses involved
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
that sort of a thing, right? So if there is any error handling that needs to be done, you should probably do that here or before we even hit here, so that this operation does not fail with a weird error. I think that's the concern.
Yes.
Sure. I think we can take a look at, if there is a way to find out whether REST is set up on tap or not. I think what your point is validate whether REST on tap REST is enabled on tap, and then take a call on switching and closing the REST client, right?
Exactly, and whether the
Okay.
user that you're using, that Manila is using to talk to ONTAP, has access to those stuff, because that's also another class of errors that we see in like support cases and things, that a misconfigured
Okay.
ONTAP user.
Sure. So what we can do is we can come back on this, maybe sign, and we can
Yeah,
discuss this, how to figure that out. If
sure.
there is a way to, if so, there are two ways to understand this, right? One is that this is a cluster level setting, cannot be done at user level or SVM level. And if
Right.
that is the case, we can document that we need to have REST enabled on tap for this feature to be working, and move on. And if not, we will try to find out if there is a way to error out earlier than hitting this API
Right.
call.
Sure. Yeah. Think we will come back then. Yeah. Yeah. We'll make some proper thing here as needed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And okay. So when executing this, these are the three APIs that we are executing above. So I will go to those APIs. I think as part of this. Sorry, I opened the wrong file. So these are the APIs that have been involved from ONTAP side, and so like we are doing all other APIs, we just grab the info and body from there. We are forming the body and just calling that APIs. So uh, these are the three APIs that we are executing. One is the one which I have shown you. We are going to create a Barbican KMS configuration for the vServer. And next, after the creating, we are going to retrieve that key store UUID. And after that, we are going to enable. Only after enabling, we will be able to encrypt the share with this vServer. So that is why these three workflows are executed. So apart from that, this is something, yeah, this is where actual share that encrypt is happening. So simple thing that we are doing is if we have this encryption key ref, we are just having the encrypt true in the provisioning options. Otherwise, by default, here we had false. So just that one check, when we have this, we are going to, have this encrypt true as part of the volume creation. So I think yeah, this covers it. So this is something we are taking, encryption support share server from. This is something we are doing it for the DHCS true or false. So for as false, we are not supporting, we are passing it as none. And for true, we are going to have it a share server. And this is a unique thing that across false and true. So we are using this configuration param. And this file is covered. think I think we are there's not many large files or changes, and anything else that Carlos had, yeah, one input Carlos had here. So so we are passing this NetApp identity auth token path in the config. So I explained why we need this, because this was not getting as part of the endpoint. This is not present, but only if this is present, we are able to execute that, post API. So that's why we just made a default as nothing. Maybe different cloud providers may have the full URL, so that it might not be needed for them, but for most of them this may be needed, and it's not coming as part of the keystone auth URL. So we had to add this, and maybe we can discuss on this if anyone has points. But apart from that, I don't think we have much. We covered most of them.
Yeah, sorry, that was just a thought on the options file. I think, yeah, it's having a config option is better than hard coding something, because yeah, it's currently API v3, and like it can change in the future. New APIs being implemented, this can become like legacy and stuff like that. Yeah, so at the end, I was pretty much like concerned whether we should, like, this is something, or the this endpoint, it's something that would not be something related to the driver. So that's why I asked if we could make this a Manila option itself, or get it from somewhere in Manila or in the configuration somewhere, just because, like, this is something that could be maintained somewhere else in the Manila configuration files. Yeah, and that's one of the points. And the other one is the thing that I'm most concerned about on the whole thing, which is we like the code itself. Currently, it's forming the whole URL, so it's getting the keystone and the endpoint to like go make the calls to get the keys, whatever. So at the end, that is being sent to the storage and it's being saved to the storage. But what if the endpoint changes someday? Do you guys have like some fallback? Because you can hit like the Barbican API someday, and then let's say in a cloud environment, like IPs of things and endpoints of things can change, right? So let's say you have something that whose IP is something you know currently, and you have a deployment where you have multiple, you have like Barbican deployed in a specific like endpoint, and then in the next day there's an issue in the cloud, and then like Barbican stops responding, and then Barbican spawns up in a different service, in a different IP, in a different controller. That means that the information in the storage will be outdated, and as soon as you try to reach Barbican somewhere, it won't be able to reach it because the IP is stale, and then it will start hitting issues. Is there like a fallback approach to that? Was that considered in the design, or is the NetApp ONTAP driver only supposed to hit the Barbican API at the moment of the creation, and it will never do it again, and we shouldn't be worrying about it?
I don't think we should be worried that much.
Sai, this is actually the way ONTAP side has also implemented, right? Because they need because they need the API base URL to be sent to them.
Yeah.
So, and they don't have a patch of this, right? They don't allow patch today.
No, not at the moment, right? No.
So, Carlos, what I was thinking is this is something that will also require us to do a patch on storage, and something that maybe we can take as an enhancement, because this will require us to ask the ONTAP team to also support patch, which can be maybe either if that kind of a scenario as you spoke, right, where the API changes, if that is something that that can happen, we will need to support that at least from the storage side, so that the customer can actually upgrade or basically or do a patch on the reservers, so that their deployment or existing encryption do not fail.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that also should come as like a limitation somewhere, documentation.
We
If you can do that
document
right
this.
now,
Yes,
that
yes,
must be documented, because
yes.
otherwise, like at the moment something changes IP, then it gets tricky. Yeah.
Understood. Yep. That is a limitation as of now, because I don't think there is a patch that is there implemented on this API.
Right.
And we will need that support from ONTAP. So we will need to ask them to enhance this to also support a patch in future if there is this kind of a scenario that can happen.
Right. We will document that, Carlos, according to the limitation.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So there are some comments on this. So actually, yeah, this is not related to this patch, and I just asked. I can raise a different patch, but this was actually important for the rest share creation to go through. I don't know if you have tested in the recent times. That's why with this it was working, and if it is not there, it was not working. So this fix is indeed needed, for this release. I can raise a different patch because it's only Barbican, like you have suggesting to raise a different patch. So we will do that, Carlos.
Yep. Thank you. Please submit this as a different patch, and also, like you can add a depends on relationship between the two, because it's otherwise this is a feature, right? This is a feature patch, and we can't backport this feature patch.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and so at the end, if that fix is going to help somewhere else, then it means that it's worth backporting it to other releases.
Right.
And if there's something broken because that piece is missing and someone can hit it, we should backport it like to the
Right.
older releases. So
Right.
yeah, that's why I asked to split this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely. So these two, I will have it in one patch. I will raise a bug saying REST API concerns like that, because without these two, we are not able to execute. So I will have these two changes in a different patch and raise it. And like you said, it will be, good to backport if someone needs it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So apart from that, I think we covered all your comments. Maybe I would request Gautam to take a look at the patch and, uh, comment accordingly.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for taking us through this. So I see in one of the changes that you ran the tests as well, like the encryption tests. But one of the next steps, I think, would be what we mentioned in the beginning of the call, testing further with different features, especially what impacts encryption and also what doesn't impact, because we need to be testing regressions. So yeah, that's like one of the very important feedback that we would have here. It's ensuring that we don't break anything else and we are working around any issues that are showing up at the moment. So yeah, please take some time to do that and share the outcomes with us, because that's going to be really important. I think we've asked you enough discussion. I'm sorry to bring this up again, but do you guys, what's the state of your CI? Are you guys being able to make progress with it? How's it going?
Yeah, so on the CI side, we have done some progress. There is progress, Carlos. So we are still, in that mid stage where some of the things are not working. But as we said, right, there is a dedicated person now on that, and he is dedicating his entire time to fix the CI. Once that is up, we will go ahead and update. I think I hope that it should be done soon enough. But at least from the working point of view, we should be able to make it work sometime soon. We have been hitting multiple issues, and we have been trying to resolve them as and when they are coming. Once that is up and running, we will definitely update. This is something that we are taking as priority right now.
Great, thank you.
We'll definitely. I'll maybe if you want, we can actually discuss this in our midweek or next week discussion as well on the progress, and we can take it up from there and at the state what state we are at, and how much is ETA is required for us to complete that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we can chat about that. Yes, and I don't know if we can be of help somehow. Let us know. Please let us know. I think we also have some Dell folks in the call that managed to get their CI up and running recently. So yeah, I think that is the kind of collaboration that should happen upstream as well. If we can make the use, of that sort of thing, try to see, using Software Factory or not, how's this CI setup being done, or is there something that you learned from it, or even working on a doc together? That would be awesome.
That would be great. And also, that is a good point that you brought up, because we are looking for, sometimes we get stuck in some places where we don't have enough community information or enough support from even the Zoom community, the Element community, right? We've been trying to reach out there to see if we can get ourselves unblocked. But if there is someone who can help us, close some of those issues, and we have some touch points who we can reach to, that would be a great update actually. And that will also expedite us in resolving some of those issues. So any help is actually welcome on that part. Thanks for offering.
Yeah, I think we would love to help you. If anything, you can ping me, or you can mail me, or you can reach out anytime.
Definitely. Thanks, Nilesh, for offering that help. Yep, we'll reach out to you.
Yeah, actually, we have spent a lot of time on that. So I think if we do know, then it will helpful for you as well.
Awesome. Yep.
Thank you.
I'll do one thing. There is one developer who is already working on this end-to-end. So I'll make sure that he has your contact and he reaches to you whenever we hit some dead end.
Sure, anytime.
Thanks, Nilesh.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That's great collaboration.
Yeah, that's all from our side, Carlos, the driver part.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, we're almost at the top of the hour. All good discussions though. Do you guys have something else you'd like to bring up regarding the other patches, like adding Barbican to the CI, or the Manila Tempest plugin patches or something like that?
I think If you want, I can share on this Barbican install part, but I think we are in a good shape there. If everybody wants to take a look, I can share. Or it is as part of the BP share encryption topic. And what do you suggest? You want me to go through those patches? Or?
Only if you think there's an open point, but on those, I think we are good. We've got very positive reviews, and at the end, yeah, there's one of the changes is barely merged, but it didn't merge because there's that depends on change still has a workflow -1 because trying to get the clean runs from the CI, and we had the suggestion of doing that by Gotham as well in the other change that has the workflow -1. So at the end, yeah, that's like we are in a good shape there, and thanks for working on that. That it would be nice to have that added to the CI, and yeah, it's like setting up Barbican, doing all of the configuration. So all good. Thank you. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to bring up related to this feature or the testing?
I think we are good. I think I should thank you for responding on the queries for this Barbican dummy jobs and all. But yeah,
So, with respect to testing, we are supposed to create a share snapshot and the replicas on the share which is created using the encryption keyref, correct? And also the share without encryption keyref. But we will definitely not be doing anything with encryption keyref is being passed as a parameter to the share replica or the share snapshot. This release.
Yeah, I think that would be some good testing to have. We should also test that manually, as Gautam was suggesting. Like because it ensures that we are not getting any regressions in as part of this release. That's one of the parts of it, but also automating those kinds of tests will help us in the future as well, because that means you don't need to run them all manually, even though these tests, like only the Manila Tempest plugin API test, they won't actually mount the share and like do all of that part. That will be through scenario tests that we can also update if you would like, because this is like a big enough scenario. But for the API, Manila Tempest plugin API, it would be nice to have some extra coverage on these scenarios. Yes. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, good.
No, I think that testing said about that testing and some of the review comments. I think then we are good, right, on the driver side, and I think Kiran is on top of whatever reviews we got for the common food.
Yeah.
We would want to thank Kiran for putting a lot of effort every time. A special thanks, Kiran. Yeah.
Thanks to all of you. It's a lot of hard work, that's for sure, and also keeping up with the reviews and all of that. So great job on getting the change to the SATDs, like specs and everything. So all of you, I would say, yeah, great work, and thanks for working on it.
Yep, including you for the prompt responses every time. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, happy to help.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so I think if we don't have anything else here, we can wrap up, because it's been 2 hours of our meetings today, and we have a couple of topics, but we can go through those tomorrow. Lots of good discussions. So some changes to the tel drivers and also the share backup approaches. So I think NetApp folks and everyone have a lot of context on the share backup. So yeah, it would be an interesting discussion for all of us, actually. So yeah, I got a message from Gautam saying that he's not being able to unmute, but he's saying good job, everyone.
Thank you.
So good job, everyone. Really, thanks for working on this so hard. And yeah, I think let's wrap up, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time as today. And we won't have the regular Manila meeting upstream in the OpenStack Manila IRC channel, but we'll have this instead. So yeah, thanks for joining.
I have one last
Yeah.
closing comment,
Please go ahead.
Carlos. So if Nilesh, you can actually send us, or if in chat, you can send me the email ID that we can use to contact you, or send mails for Zool. That would be great. I'll note
Sure,
it
sure.
down and I'll pass it on. Yep. Thank you.
Just a minute, I'm typing out.
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Captured. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.